Taking care of your body is one of the most important practices of everyday life. This includes monitoring your physical health as well as your mental. Recently, many people have begun feeling strong anxiety and possibly even depression. Whitney Ashworth-Holloman, who is a licensed professional counselor with the company Move Forward Counseling, explained the effects the virus may take on our mental well-being.
Yeah, I definitely think that recent events are affecting people's mental health. It's been interesting to see some people that I thought might be really struggling are actually doing really well because they'd already learned a lot of the coping skills for when they're feeling isolated and down. But obviously a lot of people are having a hard time because their regular ways of coping are taken away from them, or they haven't had to have something like this go on before where they don't know how to deal when they're stuck at home.
With the awareness of these recent tolls on mental health, practices like Move Forward Counseling have begun offering telehealth services to clients. Allison Pigeon, who is the founder of Move Forward Counseling, described what the transition to telehealth has meant.
We were doing a little bit of telehealth before, but what was actually a really big silver lining that came out of all of this is the week that we were sort of officially quarantined, like all the insurance companies basically reversed all of their decisions around telehealth. So a lot of times they wouldn't necessarily have paid for it, or it wasn't part of the benefit plan. And it was like in the blink of an eye, like that all changed. I think telehealth is going to be so important in the future because there's definitely areas in various parts of the country, especially rural areas, where people just don't have good access to mental health services. So I think it's something that is now, here to stay, and people are going to get used to it, and insurance companies are going to keep paying for it. So I think that's all a really positive thing that's come out of this.
When speaking to both Allison and Whitney, they explained how practices like Move Forward are still accepting new clients and how easy it is for anybody to take this step towards bettering their mental health.
So at Move Forward Counseling, we are actually still open for business, meaning we are still taking new clients. We have a number of new therapists even to be able to help with people that are wanting new appointments. So despite businesses being closed, we are able to do teletherapy and telehealth. And that way we can conduct therapy with people from their home.
We have a full-time administrative assistant that answers the phone during regular business hours. So you would just give her a call and let her know your information so we can get you entered into the computer system, and we match you up with the therapist that would be the best fit for you. And then we have, pretty much immediate openings at this point. We also do have weekend appointments right now, which we don't normally have weekend appointments, but we wanted to be really accommodating for people.
Whitney and I also spoke about quick tips and strategies that anyone can use if they find themselves in an anxious or stressed mood, as well as when to start thinking about mental health counseling.
One of the things that we as counselors talk about is to make sure that you're practicing the 4 M's. Make sure that you're using mindfulness, so being present-oriented, not worrying about the future, not dwelling on the past. Mastery of something, meaning be creative, find something to do that you wouldn't normally get a chance to do. Movement, so getting exercise, getting outdoors, doing something physical. It could be doing yard work, it could be going for a walk. It doesn't have to be traditional exercise. And then making sure you're having meaningful engagement with other people socially. So doing Zoom calls or doing the Netflix with friends or talking to each other on the phone, finding a way to have some sort of meaningful engagement with other people, even if you're living alone and whatnot. Those 4 things I think are really important and vital right now for everybody to feel good. I'm a little biased, but I think that pretty much anybody could benefit from counseling. We go to checkups for our physical health at a doctor for a physical every year or twice a year. And I definitely think that people can benefit from just, if you're not sure or you're not feeling great, you can always just check in with a counselor. It doesn't have to be super often. So I think that pretty much anybody can benefit, but especially if you're noticing a decrease in motivation to get up out of bed, if you're finding yourself worried and more in your head than normal, you're having trouble adjusting, this is definitely a time of grief and loss for a lot of people. We've lost our normal lifestyle. So I think there's no right time to start counseling, but definitely I think just about anybody could benefit if there's been a lot of change and things are feeling hard.
Regulating your mental health is so important, especially in times of uncertainty like these. Thanks to practices like Move Forward Counseling, doing so through teletherapy is making a difference in countless people's lives. For Hempfield Happenings, I'm Maegan Seaman.